This is about to be the most entertaining room makeover I've ever done. Nearly every single item in the room will be thrifted or upcycled. There will be hidden wallpaper, there'll be exciting discoveries, cute corgis, and beautiful decorating. I'm gonna create a place to work that will be unique and inviting and flooded by natural light, and by the end, it's not just gonna be an office, it's gonna be a whole moment. So, I am here at the house by myself, basically stranded without a car. See last week's video for more on that. And I kind of thought, what better time to do a little in-house makeover? Like, let's use what we have laying around the house for the most part and see if we can spruce up yet another room. It'll be quick, it'll be fun, and it'll give me another usable room in the house. Because I've been thinking for a while that it would be nice to have some sort of office space in here, somewhere where I can sit and do some editing and also maybe some sort of charging station hub situation, because right now I have batteries and equipment just strewn all over the house and it would be nice to consolidate them into one dedicated spot. And I've got the perfect room in mind. It's small, manageable, easily furnished, I hope, with things that I have laying around the house, and it gets amazing sunlight all day long. It's the front room of the house on the second floor. It's got those giant windows and it has sat virtually untouched since I bought the house last year, and I think it's time it gets a little makeover. So let's talk goals for the room. First of all, let's just give it a basic cleaning and empty it out because it is chock full of books and antiques and weird crap the previous owners left for us. Then, once it's clean, I'd like to set up a workplace for the computer and get some soft goods in the room for days when I want to record voiceover, and that's gonna help cut the echo. Plus, it's also a little bit for Canel's sake. Then I'd like to add some charm and just make it a cozy, inviting space, but without spending a ton of money because the room is eventually gonna need a lot of work. The plaster is in really bad shape on almost all of the walls. 3 out of those 4 walls are actually exterior walls. There's been a lot of water damage in previous hurricanes, and I know we're gonna have to remove the wallpaper to fix it. So I'm not trying to sink a ton of time or money into aesthetic changes that I know I'm just gonna have to undo down the road. So the goal is quick and cheap, but with a bang and without looking cheap. And lastly, I just want to have some fun decorating. So let's jump right in. And actually, I've kind of cheated because that first item on the list was already taken care of by past Shannon. So let's throw it back to this winter where I gave the room its very first clean out. If you're new here, you might be asking, where did all these antiques come from? And most of them actually came with the house, and many of them have been sitting in this room since the day I purchased it. Now, I know there's probably a certain segment of you out there who are just dying for me to spend some time sorting through these books. Trust me, there are so many books in this house that were left for us by the previous owners, and I will absolutely be taking my time sorting through them. But these are not the books that you want me to be sorting through. These are like boring mathematics books that will be donated to somebody who will find them useful, maybe as paperweights, but don't worry, I will absolutely be taking my time going through all the other more aesthetic and interesting books in this house, especially because I have some very fun plans for this room specifically that involve a bunch of books. Well, Daybed 1, Shannon 0, because I've had to admit defeat on this one screw. This one here is completely bent, like almost at 90 degrees, and stripped. It is bent and stripped, so there's no way I'm getting it out of here. I'm just gonna have to go, I think, get a hacksaw and cut it in two, which is a shame because otherwise all the other hardware is intact for this bed, but I don't think we were planning on using it again anyways, so it's gonna get donated with one less screw than it should, but I think that's the only way we're getting out of here. And that brings us to the present day. A very echoey present day. I apologize. Hopefully it'll get better by the end of this video once we get some soft goods in here. But yeah, this is where the room is at right now. It is basically the same as back then. Haven't done a whole lot to it, except we do now have this gorgeous mirror in here. That probably will not be staying. That's just in here to keep it safe because, like I said, this room is clean. We don't really do a whole lot to it. So I think it's time, now that the room is pretty much clean, to start moving some stuff up here. And first things first, let's start with the item that kind of spurred this whole video into happening, and that is the desk. Okay, actually, slight change of plans. First, we're bringing in this rug. Just grabbed it off a marketplace at some point last winter. It is not staying in here. This is not the right color scheme for the room. Actually, it almost is. Okay, it could potentially stay in here, but I don't think it's going to. Its main purpose actually is just to protect the hardwood floors as I assemble the space, because that package is really heavy. So just gonna take a couple extra steps to try and save this wood floor. So it turns out that this rug fits in this room basically perfectly. Like, I had not at all anticipated this, so it might be here to stay. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. This was not my original game plan for this room, but I will say that it fits so well size-wise. It also fits pretty nicely color-wise, like the teals and the blues in here do pick up pretty nicely on the teals in the wallpaper here, so it might be here to stay, although it definitely needs a good vacuuming if it is. I don't know, TBD, but for now, let's go get that desk. All right, here it is, the desk that sparked it all. So it's huge. Like, it is as tall as I am. So let's lay this down on the carpet and start putting it together. Carefully. So this absolutely massive desktop is the E7 Pro, a lot of letters, I know, by FlexiSpot. And when they reached out to me to see if I wanted to give their standing desk a try, you better bet I said yes, because if you've been on the channel for a while, you'll probably have seen my sewing table video build in which I rave about how I actually love to work standing up. I really, really genuinely enjoy it. So when they wanted to sponsor this video and send me their desk to try out, I was like, heck yes, because I would love a standing desk that can also double as a sitting desk. So far, so good. I had forgotten, honestly, which color I ordered. And I'm very happy to see that it comes in a color that matches my maple floors quite closely. It does look like they have a system for leveling these legs, which is probably a good thing given the fact that my floors are 102 years old and nothing is level. back at it. The desk is now officially assembled and basically ready to go, ready to test out, except that we have one interesting hiccup in the plans, and that is I'm not actually sure it's gonna fit in the space where I want it to fit. That is kind of the hazard of leaving a traveling life, is that when I had to order the desk, I was not in the house, and so I ordered it based on a drawing. A hand-drawn measurement of the room, and I wasn't even measuring it for the table, I was measuring it for something else, so I was not taking into account things like moldings and window frames. So let's cross our fingers and hope that this fits. I think it's gonna be okay, but I suspect I might have to move the radiator, which is fine. I'm pretty sure that we already cut all the pipes and everything. We should just be able to scoot it out of the way a little bit, but it would be kind of nice if I didn't have to. So let's give it a try. What do you think, Canal, huh? What do you think? Is it gonna work? She's already very much liking the room and the fact that there's no carpet in here. She is a big fan of carpet, so she might actually join me much more frequently on my editing days now. It's kind of a fun perk. Also, I definitely need to start putting gorgeous, scenic, huge mirrors on the floor level, because I'm telling you, these mirrored corgi shots are absolutely amazing. Prime corgi content. Wouldn't you say, Peanut? Huh? Wouldn't you say? All right, let's, first things first, let's get this mirror out of here so we don't damage it. Well, unfortunately, I think the radiator's gotta go if we're gonna make sure that this desk fits in here. Lift with your legs, folks, not with your back. There was one dirty radiator, but I did get a peek of something very, very fun when I moved that radiator. Come with me and I will show you. So that right there is where the radiator used to be, and you can kind of see that the wallpaper is a little bit yellowy and discolored just from, I don't know, having a radiator there. But look at that. That is some nautical looking wallpaper. Let's see if we can very carefully reveal it and see what the pattern maybe once was underneath this. There's another one. Friends, we've got oodles and oodles of wallpaper. All right, so very fun discoveries. So it looks like we've got 4 layers of wallpaper going on. We've got this white with the teal flowers, the one that's in the whole rest of the room. Also, yes, please admire my gorgeous actual tin ceiling on this side. Very cool, although clearly needing some TLC in that area. So we've got the white and teal wallpaper that's all over this room that you can see behind me there. Then underneath that, there is some sort of solid-ish looking blue. It is very, very glued down to the modern layer of wallpaper. I have not been able to separate the two. Not gonna try without, you know, respirator and mask and such. Gonna leave that. It also doesn't look that interesting, but you never know. So then underneath that, we've got that super fun nautical themed wallpaper. Kind of makes me wonder if maybe this didn't used to be a kid's room at some point in time. And then underneath all of that, the layer that looks like it might be right on top of the plaster, like the first layer after the plaster, is this really fun, very old looking blue with flowers and, well, it's not blue. I'll just show you a shot of it right here so you can see it for yourself. Very fun. Obviously somebody tried to paint over it at one point. That's why there's the blue paint on there. So The decision now is, do I leave this as is, or do I do what I want to do and start digging at all these samples and uncovering what's underneath? However, I think I'm going to do the responsible thing, and that is to save this for a moment in time when we're actually looking to really redo this room. So for now, that does mean that my curiosity is going to be unsatiated, but again, no scope creep. Trying to avoid the scope creep. Just need a office setup in here. And you know what? That just means that later on down the road, it's something for you and I to look forward to, unearthing all the fun layers of wallpaper that are here. Also, there's a big old pile of shmoo underneath where that radiator used to be. Anything fun? Not really. Okay, take two. With the radiator gone, I could start to move the desk into position, and in order to protect my nice hardwood floors, I just found some old towels to put under the feet so I could slide it around by myself. A lesson learned from a lifetime of constantly rearranging my bedroom as a child. Okay, so it fits, it fills out the space pretty darn nicely, and now it's just time to plug it in and see if it does its thing. See if I wired it properly. Oh, that's a good sign. We've got numbers. Yes, it works. Okay, so the table is in, it looks great, it functions beautifully, and now the next thing I'm gonna do, let's give you, there's the desk for orientation. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is bring in a piece of furniture for this wall behind me, and what I have in mind is there's this record cabinet that has lived on the other side of this wall since we bought the house. It has always been in there, and the top is in really rough shape, but the rest of the cabinet, aesthetically at least, is on point. Now, I don't know if it works as a record player, but it looks really nice, and I think it would fit in really well on this wall. Just, you know, right here, it's gonna give me another extra surface to put all my charging stuff on. It can be like my charging station. However, I have two main concerns with that. One, can I move it by myself? I don't know how heavy it is. And two, is it going to overlap this rug and pin it down permanently in place, in which case I actually should probably make a decision about the rug first. Am I keeping this rug? Am I switching it out for the other rug? So I guess we're gonna go get the other rug. Ta-ta! So this is the rug I had originally intended to put in this room. It's another Value Village find. It was like $12 or something. And I mean, originally it was going in this room because this was the only rug I had on hand. And then I found this blue one, and looking at the two, I'm wondering if this isn't gonna be just too much white. The only bit of color in here at the moment is the hardwood floors, and it's getting covered up with a rug. So I'm thinking maybe the rug should have some color in it. And since that one happens to have almost exactly the right colors, I think I'm gonna go with that one. But I'm gonna lay this one out. Thank you, traffic. I'm gonna lay this one out just to make sure that I wanna stay with that one, and then the decision will be made. Ugh. Who decided taping the rug was a good idea? Excuse me, cat honey. I'm gonna need you to move. It's okay. Come here. Hi. Okay, well, Canelle has given her seal of approval to both rugs, but I, after looking at it and thinking about it for a couple seconds, have decided that it needs to be the colorful rug because, well, first of all, just look at this shot in itself. Everything in this shot, except the dog, is white. So that's not great. I love color. Let's bring some color into our lives and into our houses. Second of all, this is also a much smaller rug. It does not fill out the space nearly as nicely. So it is definitely going to be the blue and teal and green rug. We will save this very nice feeling, luxurious, long pile rug for another room in the house where the room itself already has a lot of color and could benefit from a neutral rug. So that's sorted. Next up is the record cabinet. So turns out I forgot the very first rule of moving heavy furniture by yourself, and that is that it is far better to pad and slide than it is to try and do battle with a rug or a carpet. So the carpet has been rolled out of the way painstakingly, and now I've got my cushioning here, and we're just going to slide the record cabinet into place and then sneak the rug back under afterwards. Wish me luck. Aha! Oh, so much better. So much better. Always good to do this on clean floors though, just saying. Hi, excuse me, what you doing? Well, Canal, you're kind of blocking the camera, honey. Squish, squish. Well, it was a lot more effort than I had anticipated, but it was absolutely worth all of the energy and work because it looks great in the space. It is so classy, albeit a little bit water damaged, as we can see, but it fits amazingly. It is shallow enough that it doesn't jut out into the room. It sticks out basically exactly as far as the bump out from the wall. Also, it's not too long, so I've got lots of room for this door to open that doesn't interfere at all. Also, I have full access to the outlet that's hiding back here, and I have just enough room to tuck a little wastebasket into the other corner on the other end. So that is absolutely amazing. Now, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask Ronnie if I can borrow his car and run to the thrift store. I do wanna keep an eye out for something window treatment wise. I mean, I have the translucent curtains in the other room. Those are actually perfect. They're exactly what I want for this room. So I think I might just borrow them and wash them and put them up here. But I do have some other ideas, like to add a little bit more color here and there. But I'm not gonna go into it too much because honestly, it's the thrift store. You never know what you're gonna find. So I don't wanna hold on too tight to any specific ideas. I'm just gonna wander in there and see what I find and see what I bring home. Also, quick little update on the whole car situation. Phil and I have found 3 candidates that all look like they could be good options. They were all on Facebook Marketplace, and he has gone ahead and contacted all of those owners and scheduled appointments to go visit them. However, the less than ideal situation is that we are currently Friday and he can't get to visit them until Monday. So we are both a little bit concerned that somebody might snap them up in the meantime, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Fortunately, he has talked his mother into going with him on these visits. So that way, if one of the cars looks really good and he wants to buy it on the spot for me, he can, and then his mom and him will both drive, separately back to Montreal. So we can just snap it right up. So that's really good news. Cross your fingers, send happy good luck vibes that, come Monday morning, at least 1 or 2 of them will still be available for inspection and that they'll turn out to be good. It has been actually surprisingly difficult to try and find a car. I don't even know how we would have tried to do it here in Nova Scotia, because even in Montreal, it's been quite difficult because we're looking for a Matrix with the larger 2.4 liter engine, because that is the one that's rated to tow. But of course, it's the upgrade, and all of the base models come with the smaller 1.8 liter engine that's not necessarily going to be good for towing anything. So we have been like holding out and waiting for one with the larger motor, but there just aren't a whole lot out there. So I don't know, cross your fingers. Hopefully the next time I give you a car update, it will be that I have one. Ooh, friends, it is much colder today than yesterday, and it is finally starting to feel like autumn. So got my cute little autumn mug, and I'm seated here in my long sleeves. Actually, today would be a great day to go work in the attic now that it's a bit cooler out. So maybe I will go do that later today. But also, it is Sunday, and I am 100% in my pajamas today. So I thought, let's go through quickly what I found at the thrift store. It was a bit of a mixed bag. I've had better days, but I've certainly had worse days. So let's go through what I found and what I think I'm gonna do with it. So as it turns out, this video is already running way too long. So here is a quick rundown of everything I got at the thrift store. And if you'd like to hear more about my design decisions and why I chose these items, there's a whole video about it over on the second channel, which I will be sure to link at the very end of this video as well as in the description. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and stolen the translucent curtain from the other room because the backlighting in here was so intense that I needed something to kind of block the sunlight at least a little bit while we film here. But if anyone has any doubts about the sturdiness of the flexi desk, I can give it 2 thumbs up for not shaking one single iota as I was up there scooting stuff around. I will say that the curtain does have some holes in it that I will need to be patching, and then I will probably also run it through the washer because it is very dusty. For now, we're making do with what we have, even if it is very dusty, dirty, and literally crumbling as I touch it. But yeah, now I'm basically just going to take my linens and stare for a while at the room and putz with them and see what it is that I come up with design-wise. Okay, so I think I've come to some design decisions, which actually in the end I'm really, really happy about. So if you want to hear more about that whole process, again, head over to the second channel after this video is over. But for now, that leaves us with one last thing to tackle before we can do the finishing touches and the final reveal, and that is going to be to tackle this window right here, because somebody at some point in the past did a pretty mediocre job of painting it over, and I would really like to try and remove the paint for a couple different reasons. One, it just looks really, really ugly, and second, because it would be really nice to let some of the light from this gorgeous big window over here pass through into the hallway on the other side, even when this door is closed, which we do actually leave the door closed sometimes for the sake of, you know, isolating dust and dirt and grime and all that. So let's go take care of that, and then we can head to the final touches. Ooh, is it painted shut? How do you open? What are your secrets? Am I gonna have to scrape this in place? I would really rather not scrape this in place. If I can avoid it, I would prefer to get it down, but not sure if that's gonna be an option. Ah, yes, somebody has painted her shut. Fantastic. Well, as it turns out, the window is painted in place in several spots, including all of the hardware. So for the sake of not opening a giant can of worms, I'm going to try and scrape it in place as it stands. And to do so, I've got some soapy water and a razor blade here. And I've also gone ahead and taped a little cardboard box up underneath the window. Hopefully this is going to be a stroke of genius and it's going to act to catch all of the scrapings so I don't have to vacuum afterwards. But yeah, let's go give this a good scrape. Well, I think I'm gonna be here a while, so So, roll the montage! Well, my elbows are gonna need a re-greasing pretty soon, but it is coming along spectacularly. Mostly done, just got a tiny little corner there, and then I'm gonna have to flip around to the other side, give the other side just a quick little touch up where there are a few spots of paint, and then we're gonna be done. So that is where the room stands in this moment, and I could not be happier with it. Now, it is by no means the final iteration of this room. There are so many more things to do in it, but for now it is just infinitely cuter and more usable than it was before, which honestly, that is what living in a renovation zone comes down to. Pros: 1, the decor is on point. I absolutely love the aesthetic. 2, the carpet, Canal loves it and has been up here. In fact, she's actually up here right now, curled in a tiny little ball by the mirror. 3, the desk has been fantastic. I've used it sitting, standing. I love it. I love how it's by this giant window over here. 10 out of 10. Things that could be improved on, or things I did not get around to. First of all, this chair situation, very much less than ideal, not the most comfortable for long editing days, but we only have 3 chairs in the house and 2 of them need to be down in the dining room where we eat. Also, that record station ended up being so cute. It was such a moment that I couldn't bring myself to break it by putting a charging station on it. So at some point I will need to set up a charging station either on this desk because I have a ton of room for it here, or maybe down in the dining room. I'm not sure, but that is gonna stay untouched because I absolutely love the way it turned out. Speaking of the desk, if you are tempted to give a standing desk a try, as usual, I have a code right here. You can use it to get $50 off your own E7 Pro. I hope you tune in next week where we go dive into my attic, find some fun antiques, have a little bit of spooky fun. And in the meantime, if you haven't gotten enough Shane and Manx, you can go check out more about the design decisions that went into this room on my second channel video right here. Bye! Yes, okay. Really? Here goes nothing. There we go. Are you kidding? It's missing the thingy. Ah, boo! Never easy. Never easy.